All right, it's 7:05. I'm Mia Edwards. Nice to see so many faces. We had a great program last night, and I look forward to this evening as well. I am the co-chair along with my husband, who's not here tonight, but I have my daughter sitting in. We are the co-chairs of the Parent Leadership Council, which is a group of parents that work with the administration and staff at Hamilton. We serve as, I guess I would call ourselves an outreach function. We reach out to new parents such as yourselves. We reach out to parents over the course of the year. I see Susan, one of my PLC colleagues, and Elise, who you heard speaking before. So we have some fun when we get together, but we also get down to business and figure out how we can do our best to reach out to new parents, to existing parents, to engage you in things, all things related to alumni events, to fundraising, to development of the college. And we host events, we attend events. So it's a great group of people, and we really enjoy the work. But really, it's great because we get to work with three people that are on the phone today that are really kind of the leaders of this. So Sarah Zizanitz, who's an alumni of Hamilton, and she is in the development office. Sharon Rippey, who you heard speaking about the logistics, who is in the alumni office, and she is a Hamilton parent. And then Stacy Chambers, who works with Sarah in the development office. So we've got those three. And I want to point out now that while we're talking and when we turn to kind of our feature speaker, you are welcome to type questions into the chat function on the Zoom. And Danny, and I should say Daniela Edwards is class of 21. She's my daughter. And she will be entering her senior year, leaving tomorrow. So I know you all know how that feels, but we still feel it even, almost 4 years in. So type your questions out. We're happy to answer them. We're going to hear from some of the students. In addition to Danny, we've got Jonina Mignon, class of 21, Sophia Archos, class of 21, and Ade Sotinwa. And those 4 students are members of a group called HALT, which is the Hamilton Alumni Leadership Training Team. And they are essentially learning how to, carry the torch and be good alumni when they graduate next year, and continue the amazing connectivity between current students and alumni, whether they're out 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 40 years, 50 years. So you will have an opportunity to hear from them, whether it's about HALT or just other questions that you're dying to ask as first-year parents. We had questions last night about what's one thing that you forgot to bring as a freshman, or that you wish you brought, and what's one thing that you wish that you knew then that you didn't know then that you know now. So you can ask anything. They're happy to answer the questions. But speaking of alumni, I want to turn to a spectacular alumni. Her name is Samantha Koss, and she's class of 95. She is just such a fun, outstanding presenter. And so she is going to talk to us tonight about one of the signature dishes that's made on campus and show us how to do that. So Samantha, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mia. And hi, everybody. It's so great to see both new parents and new students. Kind of welcome to the Hamily. Some other folks, Susan and Kevin, I know your son, John, and I saw you and the resemblance is uncanny. I hope he's well.
He popped out of his pocket, right?
Yeah. So my name is Samantha Koss. I graduated in 1995. My younger sister, Lauren, graduated in 2000. I grew up in Utica. I was a creative writing major while I was at Hamilton. I originally thought I was going to be a zoology major because I worked at the Utica Zoo when I was in high school. But I quickly realized that creative writing was the right major for me. Halfway through Hamilton, I decided that after I graduated, I was going to go to culinary school. So my mom, when I was growing up, she made wedding cakes. My dad was a great eater, and he just liked to talk about food. I never saw him actually make anything. My love of cookbooks definitely comes from kind of my upbringing, and in the back corner, those are two Billy IKEA bookcases filled with, I think, over 450 cookbooks. So after Hamilton, I went to culinary school and I worked in the field for a very short period of time. I met my husband there. So food is certainly a passion. I do a lot of volunteer work for Hamilton. If you're in the area, you'll probably meet me at some point. I attend a lot of events in Fairfield County, Connecticut, in Westchester, Boston when I'm in the area, New York City. I was super excited to do this. So I did a demo last night for Hemstraat's Bakery. It's a bakery that used to be in Utica. You can now get their Half Moon cookies. That was a little bit less cooking. This is a little more cooking today. And it's Cafe Opus's Mango Brie Panini. So my experience with Cafe Opus is that Cafe Opus is a coffee shop. There's actually two on campus. One is near McEwen Dining Room on the Kirkland side of campus, near the big swinging rock. If you've, for new parents, if you visited and you kind of walked by it. And then there's another one, another Cafe Opus, Opus 2 in the Science Center. Opus, the original Cafe Opus in McEwen, opened my senior year of Hamilton, and I was one of the first employees. Having a love of food and certainly a love of coffee, I loved working there. My younger sister also worked there. So the Mango Brie Panini actually was created after my time, because we weren't even making lunch. We were just baking cookies and muffins and serving really good coffee. But I've heard from many of my Hamilton alumni friends kind of the allure of the Mango Brie Panini. And so I'm pretty excited to make it. I'm going to be making two because this is dinner for my husband and I. So it kind of worked out pretty well. I'm going to get a whole bunch of ingredients. So the Mango Brie Panini consists of all sorts of stuff. I'm going to bring them over and then I'm going to show you. I'm taking a few liberties. It's chef's prerogative. I tend to make a few additions. This is very important in our household, so I felt like it needed to be a little bit spicier. So you can use whatever bread you'd like. I make bread sometimes. I've done a bread baking class as an alumni class on Zoom for Hamilton recently. This bread is a little bit holy for the purpose, but I think it's going to work great. It's sourdough, and for those of you who live in my area, there's a great bakery in Darien called Flour, Water, Salt Bread, and it's all natural, all sourdough yeast. And they make croissants, and they make palmiers. Everything's phenomenal. They make pizza. Tonight's pizza night, but we're skipping pizza night to have this. So I've got bread. I've got brie. I pre-sliced all my brie. In chef's terms, this is called mise en place, which you may have heard on a cooking show. And mise en place means everything in its place. So like if you're going to make a stir fry, you're going to have everything chopped up. And so then once you start cooking, you have everything in front of you. So I did my mise en place ahead of time. Mango, and I lucked out. I was worried about being able to get kind of a good mango. So I got some mangoes the other day and let them ripen, and this is delicious. Modification that I was thinking about, I'm not going to do it right now, but I have a ton of fruit, because I go to the farmer's market every week, and I think that this would be particularly delicious with peaches or nectarines or thinly sliced plums. Kind of go crazy. Whatever kind of fruit you like, I feel like you could even do it in the winter if you had thinly sliced apple that you could use just straight up, or you could even roast it. So I can't help but like thinking about different options. Boursin, the recipe, and we're going to share the recipes, actually the recipes that I talked about last night and this recipe, along with my contact information and my Instagram handle and all of that. The recipe says that you can use goat cheese. I don't actually like goat cheese. So I was happy that I was totally fine with Boursin. Caramelized onions. If you don't want to bother, totally skip it. I think it's going to add a nice savoriness. I also feel like, you know, you'd even like to use pickled onions. If you like raw onions, go for it. My additions are, I was going to use a little bit of chutney. This is just Major Gray's mango chutney. I also do a lot of canning, and so I tend to, so I make chutney, but I think we'll just use mango and mango today. So let's see. What we're gonna do, and I'm gonna tilt you down so you won't see my face, but you'll see my apron and the screen. So let's put these on the cutting board, shall we? I've been contemplating the assembly of this, and I think what I'm gonna do is, and I've got one of my favorite kitchen tools ever, a small offset spatula. I use these all the time. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna put little bits of Boursin. People have questions or other cooking questions, kind of feel free. I can also tell you a little bit about my relationship with Hamilton. So as I said, I graduated in '95, and I always loved it. I was the first generation of my family to go to college, and I benefited greatly from financial aid. So I've been giving back to the school through the annual fund every year. I feel it's very important. And it was the bicentennial reunion that my husband and I went up, and I just kind of fell in love with the school all over again. And so I started volunteering, and I've done everything from making calls for the annual fund to I most recently was the chair of the New York City Alumni Association. I like to get involved. So currently I'm the chair of the education nonprofit vertical, as they say, for the Hamilton Career Network. And the students who are here today are gonna, we'll talk a little bit more about the kind of the Career Center, but we've launched some programs for our alumni. And so I've been doing that. And all of this work with Hamilton actually led to my current occupation, which is I'm the Director of Development at Hebrew Union College. We're based in New York City, but I've been working from home since March. And while I love New York, not having that daily commute has been kind of nice. It's also been one of the reasons why I'm able to go to the farmer's market every week. And then get home and be able to make dinner a little bit faster. So as you'll see, I put a little bit of Boursin on, and then I put a little bit of the chutney, and because this is our household, optional addition is something spicy. This will be enough for me. This will be a quarter of what my husband will put on afterwards when we eat dinner. He's laughing in the background. My tolerance has gone up, but not as much as his. So we're gonna spread that around a little bit. And then we're gonna put on, I feel like I should have like cooking demo music. I had never really thought about it before, but we were watching Jamie Oliver, who's a British chef, and we were watching one of his shows, and it's very jazzy, and there's lots of fancy camera work. I think another one of these Hamilton demos, and I'm gonna have to up my cooking show camera game a little bit. So this is caramelized onions, and I actually had a little bit of, I made a compound butter, which is just a fancy way of saying it's butter that you mix something into. I actually used ramps, which are wild onion stems. Is that what you'd say, Dave? I'm confirming that, like, I'm being correct. And so this is fancy, like caramelized onions a lot. So we're gonna put those on here. And then I'm gonna put on a couple of pieces of brie. While I'm doing this, I think I'm gonna set my pan. So you could do this in, so basically you assemble this all, and then you want it to be toasted in some way. I feel like you could do it in a really hot oven, like 425, and then just put the sandwiches on a sheet tray. On the grill, I think would be great, but I do not have a grill, so I'm going to be using a pan. If you have one of those old school George Foreman panini presses, that would work as well. I've worked in a number of restaurants where we made paninis, and so I always think about kind of your whole lineup of panini presses. So this looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited about this. So we've got brie, caramelized onions, boursin, sriracha, nice thinly sliced mango. Now I'm gonna flip these over. Voila.
Samantha, there's a question from a parent who would like to know how you slice the brie so nice and thin. Thank you, Adrian.
A sharp knife, and I cut it when it was cold, because you know if it's nice kind of ripe brie, when it's warm, it's just gonna, I'm gonna tilt you up a little bit as you've assembled the sandwiches. I'm also a complete perfectionist when it comes to things like this. But if it's cold, even if it was like a slightly bit, like if you put it in the freezer for 15 or 20 minutes, and then I use, this is my kind of standard kitchen knife. I like it because it's not too long. It's a Japanese, slightly serrated knife. So there was no more trick than that. Just go slow, and but definitely having it cold. So what I actually did is, and I wanted to make sure that the brie came off of the plate. So I actually sprayed the plate a little bit with some offset spatula. I wanted to make sure that it came off the plate, so I actually sprayed it with a little non-stick spray, and then kept it in the fridge so I could just pull it off. Ooh, I love the conversations about food, about the restaurants in Utica. The Phoenician, I love. Tony's Pizza. Oh yeah, we certainly, as a college student, but even when I was growing up, Grapevine. My mom loved Grapevine. Peter's Cornucopia is a great health food store. There's a great health food store in Clinton too, Tom's Natural Foods. That was actually just Tom and Bonnie were the owners for years, and they actually just sold it, and been following them on Instagram and Facebook, and looks great. So I'm spreading, because I just happened to get this from Thrive Market today. Not that I'm paid for it. Ghee. So this is just extra kind of culinary information. So what ghee is it's usually used in Indian cooking. It's clarified butter. So it means that all of the milk solids have been taken out. And so all you're left with is the butter fat itself. So it has a very high smoke point. It also tastes good. And I checked, and it's also very spreadable, which is kind of great and a little bit dangerous. I've also heard, and I thought about doing it, but I don't know, I felt like it was a little bit too far outside the box maybe. You can use mayonnaise when you're making like a grilled cheese. Put the mayonnaise on the outside and it toasts really well. So I have my 2 sandwiches. I've just buttered one side right now. If you happen to have a massive pan, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these into the pan. You can hear it is sizzling already, which is great. And I feel like it should be weighed down. So what I'm going to use is right here. I'm actually using a second pan, and I'm just going to put it on top of the sandwiches. Might give it a little bit of a push. And then the name of the game is toasting them until the brie is melted on the inside. So I'll keep an eye on them, and then I'm going to flip them over. I'll put a little bit more butter, ghee, whatever you happen to have, and then we'll toast the other side. And then I will bring them out. And then we will eat them after this call with some sort of vegetable as yet to be determined. So, any questions? Any questions from me about Hamilton before I, turn it over to
Samantha, sorry, you're gonna cook those, let those cook up and bring them back to show us what they look like and all of their gooey goodness.
Yes. Yeah. At some point when they're done, I'll bring them back. So
I think the easiest way would be if folks want to type their questions out for Samantha about her Hamilton experience or about the sandwiches. That would be great. In the meantime, we also I'd really like to hear from Jonina, from Sophia, from Ade, and from Danny about kind of your experience with HALT, since all of your children will be alumni at some point and everybody will benefit from these initiatives. So why don't we start with, and you can introduce yourselves as well, what your major is and where you're from. And then in the meantime, I know questions will stream in and I'll throw those out to you. So why don't we start with Jonina? Where are you, Jonina? I don't see you.
Hi, sorry, I don't know if I'll come up if I start speaking. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So my name is Jonina. I'm a current senior or rising senior at Hamilton. I'm a psychology major, and I'm also double minoring in communication and history. On campus, some of the things that I do, I was, don't know who that is, sorry about that. On campus, I will be working as a senior admissions fellow in the fall, so giving interviews to prospective Hamilton students and sort of getting to know the behind the scenes college application process for the class of 2025, so that will be exciting. In previous years at the admissions office, I've worked as a tour guide. I was also an RA for the past few years, and this year I'll also be a consultant at the Oral Communication Center, which is one of our 3 academic centers on campus, which provides free of charge tutoring services to students. So I'll be tutoring people in public speaking, debates, discussions. We even do mock interviews as well at the OCC. I was also the co-news editor for The Spectator, which is one of our many newspapers and student publications on campus. And I was also the director for HAVOC, which is the Hamilton Association for Volunteering, Outreach, and Charity, which is one of our many student organizations on campus that's dedicated towards charity events, fundraising, reaching out to lots of community members to volunteer and things like that, and really getting students involved with the community. And this year I'll also be involved in HALT, which was previously mentioned. So for HALT, one of my main motivations for really wanting to be a part of this organization was to really get even more involved with the community. I think the community ties and the strong bonds that Hamilton students and faculty really form with each other is one of the really main influential factors that wanted me to come to the school in the first place and kind of sealed the deal for me in terms of committing. So I'm really excited to keep building on class unity, as well as really being a part of the community and sort of guaranteeing and ensuring that my relationship with the school will remain even after I graduate. So through initiatives like building the senior class gift, holding events for our senior class during our last year on campus, and getting to engage with lots of alumni and connect with different members of the community are going to be really exciting. So I'm very excited to start all of those things in the fall and to see everyone back on campus really soon.
Thanks so much, Janana. Okay, I'll turn it to Danny, and then we can do Sophia and Ade.
Hi, I'm Danny. I'm a rising senior. I'm a literature major, and I am a psychology and art history minor. On campus, some of the things I'm involved in include an orientation leader. So I'll probably be seeing a lot of you guys on Monday when the freshmen start to come, and maybe you'll be in my cohort. That's what we're calling it. And I'll help you guys like acclimate to campus a little. I'm on the ski team, which is one of the club sports, and we're always looking for new team members. So if you guys are interested in that, you can always send me an email, which I'll put in the chat. I write for the student newspaper, The Spectator, for the news section, and then also for the fashion publication, Signature Style. I'm also involved in Greek life, and I work at the Bristol Center at the hotel's front desk and printing Hill cards. So if you ever lose your identification card, I'll probably be printing you a new one. And then I'm involved in HALT because I, like Jonina, was really I just want to continue contributing to this Hamilton community that I've been a part of for the past couple years, especially after this past spring. I've just seen how excited people are to get back to school, and I just want to help them feel closer to campus more than ever before. So yeah. And then Sophia, do you want to go?
I would love to. Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm also a senior, going to stay on that trend. I'm here at school. I am an RA. I got here yesterday, drove a nice 12 hours from Chicago straight here. So that was fun. We made it okay. As far as what I study, I'm a double major with, it's called Social Change and Impact. I created my own. I took advantage of the Hamilton College open curriculum. That was kind of my main selling point when I came to Hamilton. I wanted to shape my education, and Hamilton allowed me to do that. And I'm a double major with Hispanic Studies, so basically Spanish. I went to Spain this spring. That got cut short, but I still had a nice 2 months there. As far as my activities on campus, I am on the varsity golf team all 4 years. Well, we're kind of delayed currently, but hopefully in the spring we'll continue. And I was the captain last year, and I will be again this year. I am, as I said, an RA, so I am here in Ferguson, which I think is honestly the prettiest building on campus, but maybe I'm a little biased, but I'm really grateful to be here. I am a TA for Spanish, and then I will be working in the advancement office when, or hopefully if faculty can come back and work on campus. I work with Mrs. Dennison, who's on this feed and probably my favorite person at Hamilton. She has 2 awesome gold doodles that I have dog sat before, and they're absolutely angels. So hopefully that we can do all that again. And then I work at the gym, easy job. I watch people work out and make sure everyone's safe. And as for why I am doing HALT, I have had the most spectacular experiences with Hamilton alumni. As everyone can imagine, everyone's probably concentrated on the East Coast as far as Hamilton, but being from Chicago, I've been grateful to find amazing lawyers and investment bankers that I am interested in kind of exploring careers with, who have talked to me over the phone multiple times over the last probably year and a half to give me guidance and advice. And just because I am so incredibly grateful for how open and helpful they've been with me, I really want to be that same person for students in the future and help kids, pave their way, understand what really a job includes, and just to be I guess, a counseling figure and helpful as I can. So, and as far as this year with HALT, I think we're all going to take it as it comes at us. I mean, as far as no one's on campus right now, it's been kind of weird walking around campus and it's absolutely empty. So hopefully when everyone gets here, we can get a vibe for what the campus will be, and we can organize appropriate socially distanced gatherings and make it a fun semester. But I think we'll all just roll with the punches and make sure that senior year is, I guess the year of 2020, 2021 will be something to remember. So thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Ade?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ade Shotinwa. I am a senior, so class of 2021, like everybody else. I am an economics major and a creative writing minor. I am originally from Nigeria. I moved to the US 3 years ago, just when I started college. I started out in Binghamton University, and then I transferred to Hamilton in my sophomore year, and I stuck with it, obviously. In terms of what I'm involved with on campus, I play rugby. I am a residence advisor, so I'm here early as well, like Sophia, kind of helping students move in, get adjusted to Hamilton as easily as possible. I'm also a teaching assistant for economics and a head peer mentor. And sort of to describe what a head peer mentor is, I help minority and generally underrepresented students assimilate to Hamilton as easily as possible. So I match the freshmen with upperclassmen mentors and kind of use that to help everybody, manage being a Hamilton student well. In terms of why I'm involved with the HALT program, kind of in the same lines as Sophia, I've had a really excellent experience with Hamilton alumni. It's been honestly amazing. I hop on LinkedIn and just reach out to people, and they're always willing to talk to me, give me career advice, and pretty much anything I need to know. As a matter of fact, my internship this past summer was at a software company which was founded by a Hamilton alumnus, and I only got the job obviously through the Hamilton connection. So Hamilton alumni has played a really impactful role in my career development and my academic development as well. And I'm just really excited to pay that forward to as many people as I can when I graduate by being, as engaged as possible. So thank you.
Thank you. So clearly, I think our new families can hear how busy our students are and probably wondering how you have time to do everything that you do, let alone your schoolwork and get to class, et cetera. So I think actually, if each of you could just maybe talk quickly about how you manage it, how you find time. I think that's probably something that's really instructive for the new families. And also, how did you find these jobs? That was a question that we had last night. People were curious, like, how do you find jobs on campus or the types of experiences that you've described? And then Sarah, I think after the kids speak, if you can let folks know, how are we going to handle this year, the student fairs and the forums that usually occur in person where students can learn about these activities. How is that going to be handled in the COVID environment? So why don't we go back to Jonana, and you can just tell us quickly kind of how you got your jobs and how you juggle it.
Sure. So for my positions, I'm kind of trying to remember back as to how I got them. I think a lot of it is sort of paying attention to your email. I think all Hamilton students will say that they get a ton of them a day. But for sure, really being on top of checking your inbox every day fairly frequently. You'll get lots of notifications from Handshake, which is our Hamilton's like job and employment platform that all the students use, not only for on-campus jobs, but off-campus opportunities as well. So really being on top of checking your emails and making sure that you're getting notifications from Handshake, I think can be a really great resource in terms of seeking out employment. In my experience, I found though that people are fairly proactive about promoting open opportunities on campus. So it's really easy, like you don't even have to go into the career center or like promote yourself in a way if you want to find employment opportunities. I think for me, I like heard about them through advertisements. Some of my friends as well would reference like jobs that they had. Connecting with upperclassmen, I think, too, can be really helpful. But yeah, in my experience, I've found that jobs are definitely ample around campus, and that lots of different departments and offices across the school do a really good job promoting them and making sure that all students are aware of any open positions and opportunities.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah, sure.
Danny, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think like Janina was saying, you know, just keep an ear out. There are always people who need students helping them with work. And most of the time the jobs are really flexible in terms of managing your time. So some of my shifts will be 3 hours, some will be longer, but most of the time there is some downtime at your job to be able to do some work, which is really, really nice. And the supervisors are aware that, you know, you have a lot of homework to do. I would just say that even though it sounds like we all do a lot, there always is time. It sounds like so much, but I think, you know, it doesn't, your activities don't meet as often as you might think, or you can put yourself in as much as you want, or as little as you want. And everyone's always really welcoming and understanding about work, the workload. So yeah.
Thanks. Sophia?
Yeah, sure. Just quickly, as far as maintaining all of the activities, I am someone I've always known I'm very routine oriented. So the minute I can get into like, I know I'm doing this at this time, this I guess goes like A, B, C, and D, I find that I have way more time on my hands because it's just, I'm so productive. So I think once people kind of get comfortable at Hamilton and learn the campus and learn their classes, learn their professors, et cetera, you get kind of comfortable, you get in a rhythm. And I think, like Danny said, once you get in that, you kind of understand how school works, it's easy to maintain it. Although it sounds like a lot, it sounds busy. You really do find yourself, it just comes very naturally after a while where you're not really feeling stressed or trying to fill your schedule. It's just kind of like, okay, now it's time to do homework. Now it's time to do this, that. And then it kind of flows after that. So I haven't had any issues with juggling that. And also golf, I'm gone 3 days a week. I'm gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday from campus the first 7 weeks of school, in the last 5 weeks of school in the fall and spring. So that is definitely a time commitment. And then as far as finding jobs, I'm a pretty forward individual. So I would just kind of, I always did by just kind of going up to the bosses and asking for open positions and just kind of inserting myself and just applying and seeing my interests. And if you're someone that knows what you want to do and knows what you want to develop, there's nothing wrong with just being forward and asking for it. And then like Janina said, handshake is awesome. And you get, I think I get like an email once every 3 days just updating me on what's going on, which is kind of a nice little kind of notification to see what's kind of Hamilton is promoting. So it hasn't been too hard for me.
Thanks. Actually, Sarah, I have a great idea. I'm wondering if maybe for one of our virtual events, which you guys are doing an awesome job of being creative about, maybe Sophia could give us some golf tips or demonstrations. I think that would be a really good one. But let's turn to Ade and get his perspective on juggling and how to find opportunities.
Sure. So for the first part of finding opportunities, I think a really important aspect of that is having a solid resume. And if you need to do that, just go to the Career Center. I remember when I first came to Hamilton, my first semester, I applied to a ton of jobs. I didn't have a great resume and I just didn't hear back from any of them. I went to the Career Center, I reworked my resume and I got like 4 interviews straight after that. It was incredible. So, have a solid resume and, put in the work to prepare for your job applications. In terms of juggling everything you have going on, I'd say prioritizing is a big aspect of handling that. So for me, my academics comes first and I kind of work everything around that. So if I'm struggling with deadlines for classes and things like that, I will reach out to my supervisors and ask them if they can be a little flexible with my schedule and help me, work things out. So being able to prioritize, know what is really important to you, what you want to dedicate your time to. And yeah, that's been really helpful.
Excellent. So I'm going to ask Sarah to talk a little bit about how we're going to handle fairs and forums. And just remind the parents, the new parents in particular, if you'd like to ask one of the students or any of the students a question, please chat it out and we'll pick it up and ask the question for you.
Great. Thank you. We typically would have a student organization fair at the start of each semester. And obviously it's going to take a different form this year. And the Student Activities Office, Noelle Nisnik and Katie Stewart are working really hard right now to organize a way to have students become familiar with the different clubs and organizations. You know, you've heard a sampling of what students are involved with, and student activities will be doing virtual events. The details are getting finalized now. It's not going to be simply one fair. They are working on doing multiple virtual events and fairs for students so that as you transition to Hamilton, you have multiple opportunities to get to know ways to get involved and try some things out and meet some new people and, you know, even do something you've always really enjoyed, but maybe also step outside of your comfort zone. So we're really excited to have you sample and lead what Hamilton has to offer in the next 4 years.
I noticed that Danny just put her Hamilton email address up there. If our students could actually put their email addresses up there for our new parents to ask questions or the new families, that would be terrific. I should also mention that over the coming week, certainly as the dust gets settled, you will hear from Sarah. You'll get emails from Sarah and Sharon and Stacy about family information that's useful. Normally it would be about family weekend, for example. Sarah, I don't know if we're coming up with some fun alternatives since we're not going to have our typical family weekend, which I really hope that you all get to experience next year. It's just a wonderful time. We've had wonderful times regardless of whether we had pouring rain or the most perfect Indian summer day or a beautiful crisp fall day. There's always something fun to do. There's incredible just vistas and places to see. And of course, you know, not to mention seeing your students and meeting all of their new friends and seeing where their classes are and seeing how their dorm rooms have shaped up. It's all really wonderful stuff. So you'll hear from Sarah and her colleagues about volunteer events that are coming up, fundraising events, virtual events. So as we alluded to earlier, there's been a lot of great virtual events going on, and you can sign up for those so easily. Another great way to become, you know, immersed in everything Hamilton. Sarah, do you want to add anything about Family Weekend?
Sure. I'll talk about Family Weekend for what I know to date, and then also answer a question from Meredith and Bill Mitchell, who put a question in the chat. More to come on Fall Coming Family Weekend. Obviously, we're disappointed that we can't all be together on College Hill to celebrate, but our team is working really hard to make this a fun event and fun weekend that we come together to celebrate being part of the Hamilton family. So more to come. We'll still have programming that weekend. It'll just be virtually. The question from Meredith and Bill. So given the limits on campus this fall, what are your thoughts on what opportunities there will be? Fall athletes, limited practices. So something that I witnessed yesterday was when I was helping to distribute keys to RAs and OLs returning to campus. There are tents everywhere on campus, and the students will, you know, once we get through the first little phase of quarantining, students will have ample opportunity and really be encouraged to use the outdoor areas to socially distance. And under one of the big tents, John Hind, our athletic director, and Dave Thompson, who's in charge of our wellness program at Hamilton, shared with students that we will have some sort of makeshift outdoor fitness area. And so that's an opportunity too for students to, you know, stay healthy and you know, relieve stress, and for athletes to stay in shape for the seasons and what might be to come. So just wanted to share that information and respond to that question. But yes, you'll be hearing lots from Sharon and me If you were unable to attend any of the virtual events over the summer, or you're just catching wind of them now, we've had some great alumni virtual events. And even though they're labeled alumni virtual events, please know that Hamilton parents are very much a part of our community. And so you're encouraged to attend these events as well. We've had everything from social distancing in the garden to Campari mixing. The CEO of Campari is a Hamilton alum. So do feel free to go back and look at our encyclopedia or our digest and see those recorded ones and join us for future events.
Also, I think just to add to opportunities on campus, I know the Outing Club is going to be doing a lot more trips this fall just to try and get people to have something to do that is outside and distant. So I think they're going to be offering more bike rides, hikes, that sort of thing.
And is that good for everybody's ability?
Yeah, I think like for the most part, it'll be based on ability, like which trip you go on.
Got it. So we have about 10 minutes left, and I thought somebody asked a question yesterday, and I thought this was a great question. So I think it's worth hearing what the students have to say about this. And what is one thing you know now as you enter your senior year that you wish that you had known back as a freshman starting? So why don't we start with Sophia this time?
Sure. So you were a little bit different from yesterday, so I'll answer a little bit differently. One thing I wish I would have known was how fast college would go by. And it sounds so cliche, everyone says that, but I am absolutely shook that I'm a senior because I feel like I am like, wow, what did I do the last 4 years? I played golf and went to class, which is, of course, great. I came here for education, I got it, and I'm grateful for that. But then along with what I said yesterday to the other group that was here listening was that I wish I would have put more effort into my social life in the sense of as a golfer and an athlete, all of my real free time went to golf. I was traveling 3 days a week. And I realized when I came back as a freshman, I didn't make those connections the first few weeks of school that everyone else did. And just because I didn't put a lot of effort in during class time and during lunch. And I was so focused on getting homework done and doing well in golf, which is great. That's what I came here to do. But it's important to also prioritize your friends because I'm grateful that I do have people here that I know I'll have for the rest of my life. I'm so incredibly grateful for that. But I wish I would have started earlier. And so I think, like we said, where you kind of get into routine and you find the Hamilton balance, just always make sure that there is genuine friendship and genuine social life. It isn't just about whatever it's doing what the crowd does, but find people that actually match your values and what you want to do and what you want to live in your life. And just be always aware of your surroundings and not take for granted all the amazing people who go to school here because they're the smartest and kindest. And overall, Hamilton has a really, really thoughtful student body. So I wish we would have taken advantage and paid more attention early on and not so late in my Hamilton career.
Well, it's never too late. That's a really thoughtful response, and I appreciate that. Why don't we go to Ade this time?
No problem. My answer to that question would have to be how important it is to recognize your value as a student and as a member of the community. I remember coming to the US and then to Hamilton College and really feeling a lot of imposter syndrome and seeing students who, made social relationships easier, who contributed more to the community, and having that kind of, make me shrink myself and not be willing to try things and not be willing to apply for jobs that I didn't think I was qualified for. And I think it wasn't really up until my junior year that I started to realize that, I have a lot to offer. I should really reach out there and, apply to jobs, join clubs. I only joined rugby in my junior year and I've enjoyed it and I absolutely love it. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't feel imposter syndrome. Don't feel like you don't have anything to offer. You always have something to offer. Just put yourself out there. People will appreciate you.
Very sage advice. Thank you. Danny?
Yeah, I have to agree with Ade. I think it took me a while to gain that confidence to try out for things that I knew I wanted to do because I was interested in them. Joining the newspaper, I was just afraid to put myself out there, even though because there's an application. But I realized when I was a junior that it wasn't really, I don't know, it wasn't that serious. They just, you know, it's a formal process, but like clubs and publications want you to join and want you to put yourself out there. So I think the sooner you do that, the sooner you'll realize how easy it is and how welcoming everyone is on campus. So I wish I had known that sooner. And then I think I wish I had taken the Hamilton sayings more seriously, like know thyself and study what you love, because I think that can really help you when you're choosing your classes, because it's not, you don't get to take that many classes when you look back at it. So I think I wish I had thought more about that when I was choosing, okay, maybe I do want to take a literature class earlier on, and ended up becoming a major. So yeah, I think just
Whereas you started thinking pre-med.
yeah, I was originally pre-med, and then I was still taking literature, and then I was like, okay, actually I like literature better. So I think, yeah, just taking, you know, they're the school's mottos for a reason, because it actually helps students kind of discover what they want to do. So yeah.
Okay, and Jenny?
Nope, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely agree with those previous responses. And just to add on to what Ade and Danny were saying, I think once you get onto campus, everything can be very overwhelming, because I think you're just being barraged by lots of information at once. But really, again, taking advantage of certain resources and opportunities on campus is definitely something to get involved in earlier rather than later. For me, that was definitely focusing on sort of the transition between high school academics to college, and sort of learning the ropes of what a liberal arts, and especially a Hamilton liberal arts education, was going to look like. And I think that Hamilton has really great support structures in place to help people transition academically. And that includes going to our 3 academic centers on campus. So the Writing Center, the Oral Communication Center, and the Quantitative and Symbolic Reasoning Center, which mainly tutors for STEM-related academics, and then the Writing Center, which is primarily for essays and different papers and writing assignments. And I think those are really great places to not only learn more about the classes that you're taking and sort of the professors and the expectations of Hamilton's education, but also just getting to interact with the upperclassmen tutors who work there, who are really great resources, and you can actually learn a lot from connecting with the people that work in those centers. And sort of in a similar vein, I think getting to know your professors really well is really important as well. I think that was something that I was a little shy about initially coming into my first semester, but because we are such a small school and we do really promote the fact that we have small classes that really inspire people and encourage people to make close connections with your classmates and with your professors, I would definitely recommend going to office hours early, and really familiarizing yourself with your professor and with your classmates as well. I think that beyond academics and beyond the specific class that you're taking at that moment, those professors and those classmates as well can be really great support systems and really great resources for you even after the semester is over. I know lots of people too who actually like babysit their professors' kids, or like will walk their professors' dogs around campus. So clearly, and again, something that I think is really special about Hamilton's community is that a lot of the connections that you form in an academic context can actually be related and extended into much more of a community aspect as well. So really getting to know the people that you're around, I think, is really important.
I think that it's just so impressive listening to these 4 relatively young people, you know, speak about these things so eloquently. And I think it is a real testament to the type of students that Hamilton attracts. And you know, I mentioned this last night, I've spent a lot of time on campus in my role as parent leadership chair, and just visiting Danny, spending time with her friends, and meeting students at ski competitions. And it's truly remarkable how articulate and conversational and kind these students are. So I think parents, it's going to be a tough time for you over the next couple of weeks, but rest assured, these kids are headed into a great place. You know, there's going to be peaks and valleys. They're starting at a strange time, no doubt. But the peaks are, you know, great celebrations, and the valleys are where your kids will grow and stretch themselves and become, you know, learn to become responsible adults. So best wishes to all of you. Please feel free to ask the kids any questions. You can send any one of us questions, and you will hear again from Sarah and her colleagues regularly. So welcome to the Hamily, and Samantha, thank you so much again for your donating your time after being busy working all day. And I wish that we had an opportunity to grab some of that sandwich. I don't know if the sandwich is up for us to take a look at before we hang up.
Oh, it is. Not eating it has been incredibly difficult, but I'm doing that for you.
Can
So
you see it? I can't see it. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that looks great. Yes. So when you're on campus, you need to stop by the Opus and have a mango chutney brie panini. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you all. See you next week for those of you coming to campus.